மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க.
Movies like Journey to the Center of the Earth and The Core imagine what it would be like to burrow deep into the surface of the planet. But for Soviet scientists working in the 1970s, this idea became a reality. But exactly how deep is this hole? And what did the scientists learn as they dug steadily closer to the Earth's core? Today, we're looking at the deepest hole in the world. To understand just how incredible this project was, first, we need to understand the difficulty involved in drilling into the Earth's mantle. The mantle makes up 40% or more of the planet, which has a radius of 4,000 miles. The 1,800-mile thick mantle sits, or more accurately, heaves up and down, just below the Earth's crust and above the Earth's core. The crust is just a tiny portion of the planet, averaging 3 to 25 miles thick. The mantle is the major engine driving the planet's constant evolution and contains a geological record of much of the Earth's history. Scientists took their first crack at the mantle in 1958 with Project Mohole. American engineers drilled through the Pacific Ocean floor off Guadalupe, Mexico. But Congress discontinued funding in 1966 before the drillers even reached the mantle. The quest to drill deeper created a global scientific contest akin to the space race. In 1970, Soviet geologists took on the challenge, setting their drills over the Kolar Peninsula, which juts eastward out of the Scandinavian landmass. The Kolar Super Deep Borehole was just 9 inches in diameter, but at 40,230 feet reigns as the deepest hole. It took almost 20 years to reach that 7.5-mile depth, only half the distance or less to the mantle. Among the more interesting discoveries, microscopic plankton fossils found at 4 miles down. The Kolar hole was abandoned in 1992 when drillers encountered higher than expected temperatures, 356 degrees Fahrenheit, not the 212 degrees that had been mapped. The heat wreaks havoc on equipment, and the higher the heat, the more liquid the environment, and the harder to maintain the bore. It's like trying to keep a pit in the center of a pot of hot soup. To cut miles into the ground, the engineers had to invent a whole new drill. In the past, drillers quickly spun the entire drill stem so that the bit at the bottom could chew the bedrock. Before starting, the Soviets calculated that the tubing would weigh over 1 million pounds. They could never generate enough torque to rotate that much pipe fast enough to drill through kilometers of granite. So in 1969, the Soviets invented a rotary bit. It spun by sending pressurized mud down the pipe where it blew through a turbine at the drill head, spinning it at 80 revolutions per minute. It worked, and the system is now used on oil wells. Experts still need to figure out a way to overcome this temperature issue if they want to keep drilling and not destroy all their equipment in the process. But the project was not a complete failure because numerous scientific discoveries were born from the endeavor. The researchers found that there is water 12 kilometers deep in Earth's crust, despite this previously being thought to be impossible. Scientists discovered that there is no basalt under the continent's granite. This was a huge surprise. Seismic predictions suggested that at 9,000 meters, the granite would give way to basalt. It doesn't. The seismic anomaly suggested that basalt was caused by metamorphosed granite instead. This gave support for plate tectonics, which was a new theory when the Kolar Super Deep Borehole was being drilled. They also learned that there are fossils in granite 67,000 meters below the surface. They also found 24 new types of long-dead single-celled organisms and gained access to rocks that were 2.7 billion years old. Humanity continues to benefit from these discoveries. If we have a better knowledge of what the mantle is and how the mantle behaves, we have better knowledge of volcanoes and earthquakes and better knowledge of how the planet as a whole works, said Benjamin Andrews, a research geologist in an interview with the Smithsonian Magazine. And an artist named Lottie Given was curious about what it sounded like in the world's deepest hole. In her project, The Sound of the Earth, the Netherlands-based artist actually found out. Given partnered with geologists and engineers to record the sounds of the Kolar borehole. The first time Given listened to the sound with proper headphones, she recalls feeling overwhelmed by what she heard. All the hair on my arm stood up straight, and if I hear it now again after many times, it still has the same effect on me, she says. The sound was like rumbling thunder or the oncoming roar of a tornado ripping through the sky. I later learned that blind people can hear thunderstorms because the low frequency can be sensed in the body, she adds. Perhaps this is what was going on. The Kolar Super Deep Borehole is 23 centimeters in diameter, and its metal lid is welded on, so it is unlikely that anyone would ever fall down it. Locals in the area say that the hole is so deep you can hear the screams of people being tortured in hell, hence its nickname being the Well to Hell. If you fell down the hole, it would take around 3.5 to 4 minutes to reach the bottom. However, what's even more impressive is that scientists estimate that the distance to the center of the Earth is nearly 4,000 miles. Turns out, 7.5 miles barely scratches the surface. Lots of countries wanted to be the first to drill into the Earth's mantle during the Cold War, and today, Japan is attempting to set this record. Japan's flagship ocean drilling research vessel, Chikyu, has drilled deeper into the ocean floor than ever before, but it failed to achieve its ultimate goal of penetrating 5,200 meters beneath the sea floor, into the realm where two tectonic plates meet and cause enormous earthquakes. Engineers gave up on that long-sought target in 2019 after the drill hole kept collapsing, just over 3,250 meters beneath the seafloor. Though two oil wells have since earned the distinction of the world's longest borehole, Kola still remains the deepest borehole in the world, almost 30 years after its completion. Though scientists learned new information from the digging process, they also discovered that the Earth's mantle is a mysterious and impermeable feature of our planet.